Okay, we're live. That's perfect. Let me just get this set up. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well today. This is Stacey Kimbrell. If you're new to me or health and nutrition or to this page or someone just referred you. And I'm the author of Living Balanced. This is on health and nutrition and chemical awareness. You can get this through my website, livinganointed.com, or through Amazon. So Living Balanced, Healthy Body and Mind Reference Guide. And, I'll read to you what I have on here. I should know this offhand, but I'll just read it to you real quick because I truly believe this. It says better health starts with removing toxins from your environment, making responsible lifestyle changes for what you eat, drink, think, say, and do. Working towards an overall healthy body, mind, and soul are all our keys to a balanced life. And the whole goal with this teaching yesterday, if you didn't get to watch it, and today, is to learn about better choices that you can possibly make for yourself and your family, even share it with your friends and coworkers so that we all have the best opportunity to be as healthy as possible. So that is the goal, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So we're continuing the education. I'm thankful for providing the information yesterday. I almost wanted to say I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm sorry for it's a little traumatizing with all the information if you've never heard this kind of thing before. At the same time, it's necessary and to help all of us. And I got quite a few messages yesterday. And one thing someone asked is how, and I'm sort of new with Facebook and how you do things as well. So you have to forgive me for my lack of social media experience. But the question is how do you find out if when I'm going live? So right now, today will be obviously 1 o'clock. Tomorrow will be 1 o'clock. Next week, I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be earlier in the morning when I start, because I'm starting to do Monday through Friday teachings. And maybe be earlier. I'm not sure, but I'll let you know. But one thing you can do is if you go click on this video after we're done, or the previous one, there'll be 3 little bars at the top. And then it comes down and says notify, turn on notifications when I'm live, when Stacey's live. So if you want to do that, then that will probably always help you out. Always you can come back and check my page, or you'll find me on my YouTube page. And that way you can watch the videos at your convenience as well. I'm sure people are at work and everyone can't view right now. So, okay, let's move forward. We're going to do a little bit of a recap just for those who are brand new and just to refresh for what we learned yesterday. And that is we're trying to do our best to avoid illness and disease in our body, right? This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're trying to learn about how we can help take care of our breast. This is for your little girls who are not yet adults yet, that probably don't even have breast. Men can get breast cancer, boys can. There's all these different things that can happen on a regular basis for people. And there's things, many, many things that we can do to avoid this. So just as a refresher, remember 5 to 10% of all cancer is directly related from gene mutation. That's for all ages, races, and genders, okay? So we're not just talking about breast cancer, we're talking about all different kinds of cancers, no matter what your age is, if you're 6 months to 95, no matter what race you are and what sex you are, it does not matter. Only 5 to 10% of all cancers are from genetic dispositions. That's pretty amazing. This is from the horse's mouth, which is the American Cancer Society, okay? And this is the same stats for Canadians as well, just so you know. That means that up to 95% per the American Cancer Society is on our lifestyle and environment that we can obtain cancer from what we're doing to ourselves. And the big, 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 big key word here is unknowingly. If you knew that this container of Lysol said hazardous to humans and domestic animals, and you're not supposed to breathe it in, would you buy it? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But most of the time, people don't even know that because they never turned it around to read the back of the label. Thus, we're bamboozled and we're shocked one day when we all find this out, okay? I was the same way. So it's a repetitive cycle when we all learn this kind of stuff, because of course we think that we're doing the best for ourselves and our family and our pets. And that's just not the case. And I know we're talking about breast cancer, but you know, animals get the same kind of cancers and diseases that we get. But it's because they're doing the same kind of things that we're doing. They're breathing in the cleaners and stepping on the cleaners or licking the floor. Their foods are a lot crappy like ours as well, with all the chemicals in it. The dog treats, some of them are just literally awful. They have low toxic antifreeze in it, plus synthetic estrogens and all this kind of stuff. You have to read labels for everything, okay? So it's really important. You guys are gonna have a list for this if you don't already. There's a huge list in my book as well. And then I'll make sure I post 30 of the worst chemicals and then 100, and the rest of them are all in my book, okay? Or you can just go research them yourself on many different sites in the EPA or MSDS, which is a material safety data sheets, all that kind of stuff, okay? So we know that per the American Cancer Society, known human carcinogens, which is cancer effects from environment factors, is lifestyle with nutrition. I'm reading off their website. Tobacco, lack of physical activity, alcohol, naturally occurring ultraviolet light, radon gas, infectious agents, okay? Medical treatments is x-rays, CAT scans, PET scans, radiation, and medicines, including chemotherapy, hormone drugs, drugs that suppress the immune system. PET scans and CAT scans can expose you up to about 25 MSVs of radiation in one setting, okay? Depending if there's contrast and all that kind of stuff, where the average, that equals the average of 8 years of radiation for exposure for a person, which we'll be going a little bit over radiation in a second. So just so you know, let's make sure everything's going fine. Okay. Obviously workplace exposures, if you work at the bus depot and all you're doing is breathing and exhaust all day, it's probably not going to be a good thing. Household exposures with the chemicals that we're using, or if you have a newly built house and you have new carpet, it's just full of formaldehyde. You know, EMFs is something, electromagnetic frequencies, is not very good for us. This is why we shouldn't have our cell phone on us all day, or our electrical stuff right next to our bed, especially when we're there for 8 hours. There's EMF protectors. There's all these different things that you can do for this on your phones. I have this giant crystal right here in front of my phone. I have my, where's it at right now? I had Austin using it earlier, but my big pad for Defender Shield. I love this. Steve has it on his phone. Really helps limit the amount of EMFs. This comes from the wiring in our house. So, I mean, there's just we're just so, all the 5G, I mean, all of this is like a burden on our body that it's not used to, and it is affecting our frequency in our body, okay? Our electrical frequency in our body. Our body is electrical, okay? And it does affect us, okay? So, and pollution, of course, affects this as well. So one things that this is the recap again, is making sure you learn how to read your labels, knowing what's in all the products that you purchase and use. I don't care what it is, you should know what it is before you consume it. I do not go to restaurants and eat foods that I haven't already found out or asked what's in it. And I'll even call ahead of time. There's only like 5 restaurants that we eat at here local in Flint, Michigan. There's not too many choices. And even one day when we were coming home from Canada, we love pho soup. You know, I called 12 places and they all used MSG in their broth. So we didn't eat anything. We just drove all the way home and then ate when we got home. Like, I do not compromise with chemicals that I am aware of. I check into this stuff ahead of time because it's that important to me for how it makes me feel, our family. And I get to choose what I want to participate with it and not, and I'm not going to participate with that. Avoiding harmful chemicals in what we're eating. I mean, this is just like, man, it's just everywhere. What we're drinking, what we're breathing in and out. You know, I used to use dryer sheets. Those are like one of the most toxic things that you can use. And you can just tell which houses use it in our neighborhood, because if you go for a walk, it's like overwhelming just even walk by their house. It's crazy if you walk down the aisle at the supermarket. Candles, unless you have beeswax candles, you should not use them. You should not use petroleum candles. You should not use soy candles. What other any other toxic candles? I don't even know what the other ones would be offhand. A lot of the times the wicks can be lead. If you have a beeswax candle that's just straight beeswax, go for it. Otherwise, it should be as a decoration, and do not burn that thing, because the gases that come off of that and synthetic estrogen from the soy ones, the petroleum, you're breathing that in. It's going right into your central nervous system. It's going right into your lungs, and it's going through your interstitial fluid. It's not good. You got to stop doing it. Just stopping candles can change your body's ability to cope with sinus and allergies and lung issues. Just that alone, it's amazing. Lysol, I had 3 cans myself. I used to be my favorite thing. Clorox wipes. Do you know you're supposed to use gloves when you use that? You're not supposed to touch that stuff with your hands. We have to read the label. Air freshener, plugins, I call them cancer sticks. These are all things I used to use personally, so I'm not preaching at you. I'm telling you from experience and what's happened and changed in our lifestyle. I used to wear perfume. Now I just use oils, Young Living oils for perfume. MSG has over 26 different names, artificial sweeteners. And you know, the government allows some of the stuff, so it's really frustrating to have all these different names for things. But for example, when we hear the O's like dextrose or fructose or sucrose, we think of a natural sugar. Well, there's one called sucralose. They added an A and L into it, and that is artificial. Atruvia should be called Alivia. That is a fake sugar. They have a little bit of a stevia with it to bamboozle you to think it's okay, but it's not. It's really artificial. So this is why we want to learn these kinds of things, okay? And a lot of this is in my book as well, if you're not familiar. And just to sort of sum it up to help you out, think about a watermelon or a green sour apple Jolly Rancher. These things taste delicious. If someone had one, you could smell it a mile away, or at least when they come in the room. But if you were going to make your own sour apple Jolly Rancher, let's pretend you're using an ice cube tray, and you juiced an apple and you put it in there. When you pull it out of the freezer, is it going to smell like a Jolly Rancher? No. Is it going to taste like one? No. And is it going to look like one with the coloring? The answer, of course, is no. They're allowed to use up to 6,000 chemicals to make up that one scent or a flavor or color. Okay, that is really bad. And we just don't realize it. We think it's harmless, and maybe one here and one there. But remember, all the things I'm mentioning to you right now, this is called body burden. When you have an accumulation of all these things, you just put your perfume on, and you just had a Jolly Rancher, and you just got your clothes out that you have with a bounce dryer sheet, and you just had some farm raised fish. I mean, it's just, the list just keeps going on and on and on. Okay, so this is why we have the opportunity to prevent these types of illnesses and diseases just by changing our lifestyle and our foods that we eat. Avoiding plastics with 3, 6, and 7 on the bottom triangle, very toxic plastics. Using glass instead. Avoiding, I'm not even saying limiting, avoiding tobacco. Secondhand smoke alone, besides just firsthand smoke, secondhand smoke is responsible for 1 out of every 5 deaths. That, you think about the kids and whatever. And I know people didn't know back in the day, so we can't blame our parents for all this kind of stuff, right? But if I smell smoke now, I mean, I instantly get, I don't even have issues, but I just can feel it in my body. Do you get what I'm saying? And so I grew up in that kind of environment, and most of us did. But at the same time, we can change that now, where we won't have as much of an effect. And just prayerfully, with all these kids that are growing up with people smoking in the cars and all this kind of stuff, totally awful. And I had to say this, vaping is not any better. It has less chemicals than tobacco for what an average cigarette puts out, because there's up to 600 ingredients in one cigarette, but it's not better, okay? Alcohol is responsible for 6% of the deaths. I don't believe in promoting alcohol either. So if you do have it, make it for a special occasion and once a week instead of 5 times a week. You know, find a way to make a better choice, because once again, if that's all you did, whatever. But if you're using candles and bounce, and if you're eating farm-raised fish, and you're using other lotions and potions, and using bad hand sanitizer, and doing all these kind of stuff that have chemicals in it, that the FDA recalled 117 hand sanitizers, how did it even get on the market? You realize that there's no regulation of testing for this stuff. This is why you have to be your own health advocate and do your own research. birth control, Prozac, antibiotics found in regular water table across this world underneath the groundwater table. It's all floating in there from what we're peeing out, what people dumped in the river, what chemical companies have released into the water on accident or into the land or whatever. We realize that all the stuff that's from our soil does go into our water table. We know this, but yet it keeps happening. And they get a little $5 billion fine, and then they just keep doing it. So they don't care because they have enough money. So we want to be aware of the carcinogens and all the prescription recalls. That's something we went over a little bit yesterday, and bioidentical and synthetic hormones. That doesn't mesh with our body. It doesn't know how to compute. There are things that you can do naturally with your food and other things that you can do to help bring your body back into homeostasis, which is complete health, just by eating what you're eating and drinking, okay, as we said. So we want to make sure that we're always getting enough good fats, good proteins, vitamins and minerals, amino acids, and we have a balanced hormones, which we make by good fats and vitamin D. You know, there's all these chain reaction things, and making sure, of course, we have at least half our body weight in ounces of water, and it's clean water, not Flint water, not wherever you got water. You know, you always can have your water tested for the amount of arsenic in it. If you have like well water, that kind of stuff, or even city water sometimes, you can get that tested so that you can make sure that, you know, you're not getting too much, because who would know? I mean, it's not like you can taste it. So maybe someone can, but not everybody. Avoiding soy, unless it's organic fermented soy. I think the soy should be avoided like a plague. Now, if you have your favorite snack and it's pretty clean and has soy lecithin, then go ahead. That's like a least amount. But to have soy protein and soy this and soy that, not good. It creates so much estrogen in the body, which if you're low in estrogen, fantastic. But if you're not, for males, females, boys, fetuses, whatever, that creates a hormone disruption in the body. Does a boy need extra female hormones? The answer is no, right? Do girls need too much? The answer is no. So we want to make sure that we are aware of what we're taking in, okay? And to what level. If it's just straight soy protein concentrate and isolate, you know, in large amounts on a regular basis, you should really think about that. Okay. This is going to sound strange perhaps, but we need to be aware of what kind of pads and tampons and different things like that. If you're using the regular ones on the market, those are the most toxic things that you can use. They're sitting in your vaginal cavity, the tampons, absorbing with all those chemicals inside that thing into your body. You got to go research this. It's crazy. You can get organic or cotton tampons that is 1,000 times better opportunity for you and your body, or cotton pads, or read the ingredient labels and find the one with least stuff, or get a menstrual cup. That will take some getting used to how to use that kind of thing, but that's a better choice too. So, you know, finding those things out. Bras are important. Like, you know, there's certain bras I like. I refuse to wear underwire bras. So if I do find a bra I like and it fits well and all this kind of stuff, I actually cut a little hole in the side and I take out the underwire bra. I'm not using it. It cuts off your lymphatic. It's really bad for you. You should be sleeping with bras on. If you have one of those really stretchy things, whatever, but if it's still tight, if you take it off and you can see that there's a line there, no good for you, because this needs to flow back and forth. And if it's restricted, it will not flow. Our lymphatic system is amazing. How much, just go look up the image of the lymphatic system. Usually it's a little green picture person. It's just amazing, okay? We need our lymphatic to flow correctly, which we'll show you about how to do those things. If you have my book, you can get a jump start on skin brushing, but we'll go over that tomorrow with solutions of different things that we can do to help our body. Okay, digestive system is 80% of your immune system. I think if you could only afford one supplement in life, it should always be an enzyme, because enzymes help you to digest, process, and assimilate your nutrients. If you can't absorb what you're eating, then why even eat, right? So we need to be mindful that 70 to 80% of our immune system is in our digestive system, which is 28 feet. You got to keep this thing working correctly and cleaned out, okay? Of course, we have to manage our stress, overcome our fears. Fear will send you to a whole new place in 10 seconds. And especially people lately, the fear of the last 9 months, we need to do what we can do to help ourselves, but to live in fear is not going to help your stress. And once again, your body doesn't know if it's in Afghanistan in a bunker with 20 people trying to stay alive, or if it's at home, stressed out because it's about to snow. It just recognizes stress as internal cortisol, adrenaline, and it creates excess hormones in your body that does all the stuff. You just can't flick it off with a switch when you realize, oh, it's just snowing, or oh, it was a fake spider, or whatever. You got to take control of this kind of stuff and do what you need to do. Of course, I believe in prayer and meditation, and that's what helps keeps me going insane. Not insane, sane, and controlling our thoughts and staying positive. Exercise, even 30 minutes, walking up and down your stairs, outside, around your house, wall push-ups, whatever you can do. And so, one of the last things is like cleaning your home. For the last 13 plus years, I've used vinegar, baking soda, and thieves cleaner for my whole house. And I mean, you don't have to use other things, and there's no chemicals. It's inexpensive, and it's easier. I don't have 20 things in my cabinet. I have so much room. It's like crazy. So due diligence, please, when you're researching this stuff, you have to have due diligence to research, pray about what you're finding. Is it the truth? Is it not? Just don't, if you go research, is apple cider vinegar good for you? You're going to find 10,000 sites that say yes. If you go research, is apple cider vinegar bad for you? You're going to find 10,000 sites that say it is bad for you. So how you view and skew what you're looking up, you need to be mindful, have discernment, look at both sides, and definitely apply common sense. That would be the biggest thing to do, is apply common sense to some of these things, okay? But you wouldn't know that until you learn these things. So this part of the call is going to be a little bit frustrating perhaps because, and I don't want to offend anyone, but yep, it's my responsibility to teach what I believe to be true. So we want to know, remember, you're going to get a copy of all this. You want to know why and who and what you're supporting in life in general when we talk about chemicals, but especially when it comes to breast cancer and the pink ribbon. You have to be aware and go research something called pink washing. I have been teaching on this for 13 years, seriously. There's companies who say that this is, for breast cancer, this, that, all this kind of stuff. And yet they are organizations, they say they care about breast cancer, but they're actually selling products that are linked to breast cancer. Whatever, whether it's $5 an ounce or $200 an ounce for your beauty care. And it says, we support breast cancer and so much goes here, and whatever the case is, or clothing or shoes or whatever, you have to look at what is happening here and make sure that the companies that you're supporting that say they're doing something for breast cancer, you need to find if that's true or not, or if they're chemicals linked in their products to breast cancer. You should really do that before you buy it, because why would you want to support something that is not being truthful? So, and this happens with many well-known, especially cosmetic companies, okay? So there are the questions that you can ask a pink ribbon product before you purchase it is, does any money from this product purchase go to support breast cancer programs? And you'll say, how much money goes to it? They have a stats on this. They have someone that has this little spiel that they have to answer these questions, or they can send it to you in an email. What organizations get the money? What will they do with the funds? And second question is there a cap? A lot of times there's companies that have a cap on it. That means they only give up to $100,000 or $100 to breast cancer, but yet they got in their label and you're still buying all their products. And of course, if that's part of the reason why you're buying that product, you wouldn't want to be lied to. Is there a cap on the money the company will donate? Has a maximum donation already been met? Does this purchase put you or someone else that you love in risk of exposure from toxic chemicals? You want to know, like, are you, especially if you already had cancer, are you using products that are going to create more of an issue for you moving forward in the future? Okay, So I would love for you to research, I'll give you some other links about pink washing to make sure that you're supporting companies and products that are truthful and honest for what they say they are. Now, when it comes to radiation, this is number 13 on the list that you'll be getting. You know, when it comes to mammograms, I don't believe in mammograms and I don't support mammograms. If you like them, then obviously go have them. But I want to teach about better choices. If we have a better choice, then I think we should do it. If you don't have a better choice or it's not in your area, then of course, go get a mammogram. And if you've already got one, that's okay. We'll work through that. But moving forward in the future, you want to become aware of something called thermoscans. Thermoscans have been around for a very long time. I just forgot the year offhand and I don't want to misquote it. But thermoscans are a much better choice than the radiation you receive from a mammogram. So let me just tell you, 3D, which are new, 3D mammograms, if you have the opportunity, if you're going to one of those, have a slightly higher radiation dose. It ranges from 0.5 to 1 MSVs per dose, okay? And if it's just one screen they were doing, that's one thing. But there's like the average is 3.5 views are taking, the average is 3.5 views that are taking when you're doing your breast. So now that has the potential of being 1.75 MSVs for getting your breast done with a mammogram. If you have a 2D mammogram, then it's 0.5 MSVs. Okay, so that's less if you have that option. That would be a better choice if you have that option, if you're getting a mammogram, a 2D versus a 3D. And the thing you have to be aware of this is that the average human is exposed to naturally 3 MSVs of radiation per year. So if you're getting possibly 1.75 for having a mammogram done, that is a lot for what you're getting. And now you're getting it where there's potentially a problematic area, which is just going to make things grow faster because you're putting radiation on a tumor, whether it's cancerous or not, something's going to happen, right? That's just the nature of it. And that's how it works. It's when you have spot radiation, like constant, consistent, that it could kill something. The problem with it is it kills everything else around it. So then you start having mutated other cells, okay? So this is a lot of information, but we're talking about if you have the opportunity to make a better choice. When you can, you always want to limit CAT scans, x-rays, PET scans, nuclear radiation scans. Nuclear radiation scans are a trip. They literally inject stuff into your bloodstream that has to be in a metal container in a glass jar, and the nurse has to put a mask and gloves on to administer intravenously. They say there's not going to harm you, but yet it's in a locked metal cabinet in a glass jar. A nurse has to put gloves and a mask on, and it's nuclear that they put in your body so you glow on the inside when they do a scan. That's a problem to me. Go do something else. Find a different way, or really get that stuff flushed out as much as you possibly humanly can. Thermoscan diagnostic testing is non-invasive. There's no harm. I've had that done twice already. I've had my whole lymphatic done in my groin and my breast area, and I've had my breasts done just by themselves. The most uncomfortable thing about it is that you have to be in a cold room so they can see the contrast for the body temperature in the body, because tumors come out with like a different kind of color. And so you have to keep your hands in cold water. The room is really cold. So you feel like you're like naked in a snowbank in Michigan for like 10 minutes in the winter, okay? That's the worst that you're gonna get out of it. You don't get frostbite, any of that kind of stuff. But that's the most uncomfortable part about the whole thing. There's no squeezing, smushing, there's no radiation whatsoever. And it's very fascinating that you can detect tumors with a thermogram at 2 millimeters, okay? A mammogram can detect when a tumor is 12 to 16 milligrams. I think it's milligrams, I'm sorry. So let me start over to make sure I said this correctly, because now I don't know what I said. a thermoscan, a thermography can detect a tumor at 2 milligrams. A mammogram can detect at 12 to 16 milligrams, which that means a milligram and centimeters is 1.2, which actually I only did 1. So if you can see this little measuring tape right here, this is a centimeters. They can detect when it's this big, right here, the green area. That's a problem. So it's actually a little bit bigger because I even do 1.2, but this is just 1. This is 1 centimeter right here, which is equal to that amount in milligrams, so you can see the visual of it. So this is why a thermoscan, just for the heck of it, why not? You may have to travel to get one, but who cares? I drove like an hour and a half to get it twice in my life. I'm all good with that. So this is what I want to read from you. It says breast cancer has to be divided 30 times before it can be felt. Up to the 28th cell division, neither you or your doctor can hand detect it. With most breast cancers, each division takes 1 to 2 months. So by the time that you feel a cancerous lump, the cancer has been in your body for 2 to 5 years. That's pretty scary. So when we're talking about, well, I don't have anything going on, I don't have this, it's like, well, there's a lot of us who've said that and then had something happen, number one, okay? But that's fantastic you don't. But you wouldn't even know for 2 to 5 years that you had something that's detectable by the human touch, okay? And remember, it has to be a centimeter, 1.2 centimeters for a mammogram to detect it, but only 2 milliliters for a thermoscan. So these are what I'm talking about. This is like better choices. But the best choice, so we don't even hopefully have to do any of this, is don't use dryer sheets, change your lotions, change your potions, look at what you're eating, don't smoke, don't drink, you know, reduce the body burden, and whatever you're doing right now, just reduce it. You know, cut it in half, try to cut it to 0, do as much as you can possibly, humanly possible do that you have control over. So this is why we want to be aware of what we're doing, how things multiply, when we can even detect it. That's a really scary thought process right there. So once again, doing your own research for xenoestrogens. I'm not a good speller, so I'm going to spell this for you so you can go look it up. It's XENOESTROGENS. That's the word you want to look at to see where you could be getting them that you're possibly just not aware of naturally in your own home, okay? Lastly, of course, there's many medical professionals who support this information and that I love learning from myself. Dr. Brownstein, he's here in Michigan. You've got to learn to read his book about salt and iodine. We need salt, we need iodine. We don't need white salt, and we don't need white sea salt, and we don't need, generally speaking, Himalayan salt, because most Himalayan salt is adulterated. We need Celtic, or we need Redmond's real salt. Those are much better choices. Dr. Tom Reed, you can go to his website. It's drtomreed.com. He has a book about your health has been hijacked. Dan Purser, MD.com. He's an endocrinologist. He's got great books, I'm sure, on his website, but you can go to Amazon, just look up Dan Purser, MD. And his booklets are fascinating. They talk about what the body needs, progesterone. They talk about chemicals, male, female, all this different kind of stuff. And they're easy reads, and you will learn so much from them. So, and both of these guys are on Facebook as well, so you can find that. I would search out extract, it's extract, TRACT, for lymphatic massages. And there's some, if you're here local in Michigan, I know a few people, but in the handout I will send to you, you can find more, but you have someone who knows how to do extract. That is amazing for helping with the lymphatic system, which is what we're talking about. We got to get circulation throughout our whole body, which is our blood, the circulation, our lymphatic system, all of that kind of stuff, okay? So that's great. I've already sort of self-promoted myself, but I'm gonna do it again. So this is my desk copy, but Living Balanced. is on health and nutrition and chemical awareness. It literally goes over how cells reproduce and why you need vitamin D and cleanses and chemicals and all these different things. It's like everything from A to Z. Each chapter is 1 page to 8 pages long. It's a very quick, easy, large font book to help you really know what's going on so you can make better choices very quickly and simplistically. Okay? And that's it for today. I look forward to tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Once again, if you want to make sure you know when I'm doing a video, you can click on the video, go to the 3 little dots on the top, and it says notify me when Stacey's going live or something like that. Or I don't know, how maybe you know a better way than I know. So otherwise, looking forward to having you come back. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you so much for your time. And I hope this information blesses you, and that is it. Okay, thank you.